Hello, Broncos fans! We have some important updates coming up this week, and get ready, this new season is going to be full of excitement. But in the meantime, the Broncos may be about to make a move that could reshape the roster in ways no one expected. We're talking about a massive free agent acquisition, a bold recruiting strategy that could shake up expectations, and a running back situation that has fans divided. If you thought this offseason was predictable, think again, because Sean Payton is once again proving that he's playing chess while the rest of the league is playing checkers. I'll tell you the main names that Payton is targeting, and I want to hear your opinion on which ones catch your eye the most. But before we start, hit the like button if you trust in Coach Sean Payton's work and agree that he can take us to the Super Bowl. If possible, comment like this: Go Broncos! Let's go to the Super Bowl. Let's start with the tight end position, a spot that many fans thought would be a priority in the upcoming NFL draft. Everyone was eyeing names like Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland, hoping one of them would end up in Denver. But then the Broncos did something unexpected. They signed Evan Engram, arguably the best free agent tight end available. That changes everything. When healthy, Engram is an absolute game changer. And now, suddenly, drafting a tight end with the 20th overall pick doesn't seem to make sense anymore. Mike Kliss, a well-respected insider, made it clear that the Broncos are likely passing on tight end at number 20. And let's be real, rookie tight ends don't always make an immediate impact. The position is notoriously difficult for first-year players, requiring them to learn offensive line blocking schemes while also mastering wide receiver routes. Some exceptions, like Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta, have defied the odds, but overall, it's a tough transition. So, if Denver isn't targeting a tight end early, what does that mean for their first-round pick? The speculation now shifts toward wide receiver or running back. And here's where things get really interesting, because there's an ongoing debate about Audric Estime. A lot of fans seem to have soured on him after a rocky rookie season, but let's pump the brakes on that narrative for a second. Yes, he had some early struggles, including fumbling issues and being inactive for a key late-season game. But when you look at his raw power, his ability to break tackles, and the flashes he showed in key moments, especially against Kansas City, it's hard to understand why so many are already writing him off. Estime is built like a wrecking ball, and when he gets downhill, defenders feel it. He's not a finesse back. He's a bruiser, the kind of player who forces defenders to make business decisions. And now, with the offensive system evolving and Evan Engram opening up the middle of the field, Estime might just be in the perfect position for a breakout year. Pair him with Jaleel McLaughlin, who brings speed and explosiveness, and suddenly, Denver's backfield has a dynamic 1-2 punch. But that doesn't mean the Broncos are done looking at running backs. The team recently brought in DJ Giddens for a top 30 visit, a sign that they're at least considering adding more depth at the position. Giddens has that aggressive, downhill running style that fits what Sean Payton wants in his offense. The expectation is that the Broncos could target a running back in the mid-rounds, possibly in the 3rd or 4th round, where value is still high. Now, let's shift to the biggest rumor of all, Amari Cooper to Denver. CBS Sports recently predicted that the Broncos still have one more major free agent move left, and that move could be Cooper. When you look at Denver's wide receiver room, it makes a lot of sense. Courtland Sutton is still the top guy, but adding Cooper would give the Broncos the true route-running technician, someone who can get separation and complement what they already have. The big question mark with Cooper is his availability. He missed several games last season for undisclosed personal reasons, and there's some uncertainty about what exactly was going on. But purely from a football perspective, this would be a massive move. Think about it, an offense featuring Evan Engram at tight end, Courtland Sutton and Amari Cooper at wide receiver, and a backfield with Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. That's a serious upgrade from where this team was a year ago. And if Bo Nix continues to develop and build on his rookie campaign, the Broncos could have one of the most balanced and unpredictable offenses in the AFC. Now, the draft strategy comes into focus. If Denver isn't taking a tight end at number 20 and they feel good about their running back situation, does that mean they're targeting defense? Could they look at bolstering the pass rush or strengthening the secondary? The Eagles have built their success around prioritizing the trenches, and the Broncos might be looking at a similar blueprint. It's a lot to take in, and there are still a lot of moving pieces. But one thing is clear, Sean Payton has a vision for this team, and he's making sure every move fits into that bigger picture. Now, it's over to you. Do you think passing on a tight end in the 1st round is the right move? Are you still high on Audric Estime, or are you ready to move on? And how hyped would you be if Amari Cooper ends up in orange and blue? Let's hear it in the comments. The conversation around the Denver Broncos offseason strategy just keeps getting more intense. We've already broken down the Evan Engram signing and what it means for the tight end position, the debate over Audric Estime's future in Denver, and the possibility of Amari Cooper landing in the Mile High City. But let's take a deeper dive into what all of this means for the team's draft strategy and long-term vision. One of the most intriguing questions heading into the draft is whether Sean Payton and George Payton are willing to gamble on a playmaker at number 20 or if they shift gears toward building up the defense. And if the Broncos do go defense, who's the target? Linebacker? Edge rusher? Cornerback? Let's start with the idea of targeting a defensive player. Dre Greenlaw's arrival was massive. When healthy, he's one of the best linebackers in the entire league. He brings an intensity and sideline-to-sideline playmaking ability that Denver has desperately needed. But there are still concerns at the second level. Do the Broncos have enough depth at linebacker? If Greenlaw gets hurt again, does this defense have someone who can step up? These are questions that the front office has to consider. Edge rusher is another position that could use some help. Baron Browning has flashed his potential, but consistency and health have been an issue. The Broncos need someone who can get after the quarterback consistently, and if a top-tier pass rusher falls to number 20, they might have no choice but to pull the trigger. Think about how the top defenses in the league operate. Pressure is everything. If Denver wants to truly contend in the AFC West, they have to be able to disrupt Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and whoever the Raiders roll out at quarterback. But then there's the wild card, the secondary. The Broncos have one of the best young corners in the game with Patrick Surtain too, but the question is whether they feel good about the depth behind him. If a high-upside defensive back is sitting there at number 20, do they take him? The AFC is stacked with elite quarterbacks, and having multiple lockdown corners can be a game-changer. And then there's the biggest twist in this entire conversation. What if the Broncos go all in on offense? If they believe Bo Nix is the guy and they want to maximize his potential, adding another weapon could be the play. We've talked about Amari Cooper as a free agent possibility, but what if Denver drafts a wide receiver instead? The team already has Cortland Sutton and young guys like Devin Vele, but the thought of adding a true game-changing receiver could be tempting. If an elite wideout falls, could the Broncos make a move that shocks everyone? One thing we know for sure, Sean Payton is not a coach who follows conventional wisdom. He's unpredictable, and he's always thinking a few steps ahead. He knows that the AFC West is brutal, and he's making moves that position the Broncos to compete right now. That's why the tight end conversation is so interesting. Many expected Denver to target a tight end early, but now with Evan Ingram in the mix, it seems unlikely. And if Colston Loveland is still on the board at number 20 and Denver passes on him, you can almost guarantee that he's going to end up with the Chargers. At the end of the day, this is shaping up to be one of the most fascinating off-seasons in recent Broncos history. The roster is changing, the vision is becoming clearer, and the expectations are rising. This isn't a team that's rebuilding, it's a team that's reloading. The question is, what's the next move? And that's where you come in. What do you think the Broncos should do at number 20? Should they target a playmaker on offense? Should they go all in on defense? And how do you feel about Audric Estime? Are you still holding out hope, or are you ready to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is a conversation every Broncos fan needs to be a part of.